It started on my birthday of all days. 25 people packed into our Austin suburban house. The kitchen overloaded with trays, candles, and voices bouncing off cabinets. Jessica moved through the room like she owned the party and the house and the air. That was normal. What wasn't normal was how she kept orbiting around Wade Murphy, husband of her best friend Annie. Every toast, every joke, every "who needs more ice" somehow landed right at his elbow. "Try the brisket, Wade," she told him, laughing too hard when he joked about my grill technique. "You like the spicier rub, right? You mentioned that at Lake Travis." I heard it and filed it. The lake trip had been 2 months earlier. I didn't remember Wade saying anything about rubs. Wade lifted a glass toward me. "Good stuff, man." "Thanks," I said, and checked the timer on the smoker. Normal host move. Normal birthday move. I told myself it was nothing. Hospitality. Maybe she wanted Annie to feel welcome. Maybe she was covering for me being stuck outside with the meat. It was my birthday. I let it go. If I'd known where it was headed, I'd have cut the cake and ended the night early. The next morning, I collected bottles and folded chairs, putting our living room back in order. Jessica was quiet, scrolling her phone at the kitchen island, legs crossed, coffee cooling untouched. She didn't say thanks for the party. She said, "We need better lighting out back. Everyone said it felt dim." I put a bag of recycling by the door. "Everyone, or Wade?" She glanced up. "Don't be weird. Just asking." "Just asking sounds like you're fishing," she replied, then pushed back her chair. "I'm meeting Annie for brunch. Don't wait up." She left me with greasy pans and a window of silence. I took it. I'm not the guy who pokes a bruise to see if it still hurts. I manage construction projects for a living. You learn to let situations develop before you make calls. That evening, Jessica came home with a new tone, flat and deliberate. "Annie says we should host more. She and Wade always end up organizing. It would be nice if you took initiative like last night." "That was for your birthday," she said, and walked down the hall. I stood in the kitchen with the dishwasher humming. That was the first draft of a new rule. Whatever I did didn't count. I logged it. Then I adjusted something small, the joint credit card we used for group nights and extras. I set an alert to ping my phone at any charge over $150, and I moved half our discretionary money into savings. No speech, no applause, just a line in the sand, quiet and plain. A week later, the four of us met at a sports bar near the Domain Shopping Center, booth by the window, TVs hanging from the ceiling, smell of wings and beer. Annie asked about our work schedules, and Wade told a story about a client who bought a downtown condo site unseen. Jessica smiled at him. "That's such a power move." "Just a client with too much money," he said. "It's focus," she answered. "Knowing what you want and just getting it." I dug into my nachos, kept my face neutral. I watch budgets and I watch people. The numbers always tell the truth first. On the way home, Jessica put her hand on the center console like she might touch me, then pulled it back. "Wade's focused. You could take a page." I looked at the road. "I'm focused on our stuff, not condos." "Maybe that's the problem," she said. "You think too small." "Too small?" I repeated and pulled into our driveway. The lawn needed edging. The porch light had a burnt bulb. "We have a mortgage and 2 cars and a pantry that feeds people you invite over. How small is that?" She opened the door. "You heard me." I went to the garage, grabbed the ladder, and replaced the porch bulb. It didn't change anything, but it was something in my control. That's how I operate. I don't beg for attitude adjustments. I fix what's mine to fix. 2 Saturdays later in early October, I came back from Home Depot and heard voices through the open patio door. Jessica and her friend Casey, laughing the way people laugh when they know they're safe from judgment. Casey spoke fast, words landing like she wanted them to sting someone who wasn't there. "Look, it's not a crime to want security," Casey said. "I'm not saying it is," Jessica answered. "I just can't carry his pace forever." "His pace." Casey laughed. "He's steady, not flashy. You knew that." "Steady is just another word for slow." I picked up the bags, walked through the living room, and set them on the kitchen island loud enough for the voices to stop. Jessica turned, eyebrows lifted like I'd interrupted something critical. "Hey," I said, "going to fix the cabinet hinge." "Okay," she replied, neutral. Casey gathered her purse. "I should go." Jessica saw her out. When she came back, I was putting the screwdriver away. "Everything's a test now?" I asked. "Don't eavesdrop," she said. Then don't hold conversations about my pace next to the open door. It wasn't like that. It was exactly like that, I told her, and I'm not interested in being a topic in my own house. No more couple game nights here for a while. I'm spending that time on work and my own schedule. You want to host? Do it on your side of the calendar. You can't just decide that. I just did, I answered and loaded the hinge screws back into the toolbox. That was adjustment number 2. Time reallocated, expectations reset, no tantrum. I didn't slam doors. I didn't demand anything. I just pulled myself out of a setup where I'm fodder for comparisons. She didn't speak to me all evening. The next morning, she put coffee in front of me and a plate of eggs. It was the first soft turn. "Hey," she said, voice almost warm. "I got your favorite blend. You were right about the card alerts. I overspent last weekend. I'm sorry. I'll be more mindful." I tasted the coffee. It was good. Noted. She slid a hand onto my shoulder. "You know I don't mean those things. Casey just runs her mouth." Casey ran her mouth. Jessica nodded. "I'm telling you I get it," I said. She didn't, but she knew she had to pretend to. I let the apology sit on the table between us and didn't push it away or pull it closer. For 2 weeks, she was less obvious. Then the comparisons crept back like weeds. Annie posted their kitchen remodel on Instagram. "They didn't even wait for a contractor," Jessica said one night, scrolling. "Sometimes I feel like you'd be happy living in a starter home forever." "I'd be happy living in a house where people respect the person paying the mortgage," I replied, and went to the garage. I started running at night to clear my head, put distance between her tone and my sanity, a small habit with a big effect. The evening routes through our neighborhood gave me thinking space, and I needed it, because by mid-October, the lateness started. "Girls' night," she announced on a Thursday. "We're watching some documentary at Annie's." "Enjoy," I said. "I'll be at the office late." She came home after midnight, set her keys down quietly, and slipped into the guest bathroom to shower. I heard the water run and checked the math in my head. She'd left at 6. Austin's not a maze. Nothing takes 6 hours unless you're leaving town. The second time she came in late, she was lighter than she'd been in months, not happy, excited. She hummed while putting her purse away. "You're in early," I mentioned from the couch. "It's not early," she said, glancing at the clock and then at me like the clock had betrayed her. "I told you it might be late." "You said 9, I answered, not looking away from the Rangers game. "It's past midnight." She pulled off her earrings. "We lost track of time." "Who's we?" "Me, Annie, Casey." I nodded. "Right." Anne muted the TV. I pulled my phone, opened a notepad, and typed a short list. Thursday late. Guest bath shower. Edge of town gas station charge at 11:22 on the alert. Unfamiliar mileage on her car when I filled it Saturday morning. I let the list sit. Facts over feelings. That's my way. The following Tuesday, another late night. Same pattern, same excited energy when she returned. Same guest bathroom shower. This time, I checked her odometer before she left, and after she returned. 47 extra miles. For a documentary at Annie's house, 12 minutes away. A week later, I got a text alert from the joint card again. A charge at a boutique hotel in San Marcos. I messaged Jessica, keeping it flat. "Got an unusual charge on the card. Did you use it?" She replied after 10 minutes. "Oops, Annie paid for takeout and I covered the hotel room at the spa weekend. Easier that way. Cancel if you want, I'll reimburse." We hadn't discussed any spa weekend. I closed the message and stared out the office window at the construction site. My crew was finishing foundation work on a retail complex. I swallowed the urge to walk out and drive until the gas gauge hit empty. Instead, I made a call. "Pete," I said when he picked up. Pete Collins had been in private investigations for 15 years. We'd crossed paths through a client who needed background checks on subcontractors. "You got time for a discreet look at some dates and locations?" He did. We met at a strip of offices near downtown the next morning. His place was bare. Desk, chair, file cabinet. No decor to distract from business. He slid a legal pad across to me. "Give me the basics," he said. I gave him the list. Names, general patterns, 2 hotels I had receipts for from the card alert history that didn't fit our regular routine, the mileage discrepancies, the timing inconsistencies. "How far do you want me to go?" he asked. "Enough to end doubt," I replied. "Got it," he said. Give me a few days. I went home and cooked dinner. Jessica came in at 7 and saw the pans. You cooked? Yep. You said you're tired of takeout. I plated food and she took the plate like it was a peace treaty. Midway through, she reached across the table and touched my wrist. I've been tense, she said. I'm sorry if I've been sharp. This season at work is crazy. There it was, the second soft turn, bigger this time. Work is always crazy, I answered. It's life. I know. I miss us. I let my eyes linger on her face long enough for her to think the bridge held, then acted like it. For 2 days, Jessica played at closeness. She texted during the day, asked about the job site, sent a picture of a sunset from her office parking lot. I didn't hand over my heart like a prize. I acknowledged, kept my schedule, went for runs. On Friday, Pete called, You at the office? Yeah. I'll swing by with a packet. He arrived with a manila envelope, sat across from me in the trailer, and laid out dates and records. Not pictures or blown-up drama. Plain reports, license plate hits from a parking garage in San Marcos on nights she said she was with friends. A hotel front desk log showing a room with 2 names, hers and Wade's, on an upgrade form because the first room didn't have the view he wanted. Timestamps matching my credit card alerts exactly. Text message logs between a number saved as W's on her phone and her personal line, extracted from a cloud backup he accessed through her email. Nothing explicit, just logistics that lined up too perfectly with her stories. Running late messages sent at times that contradicted her supposed whereabouts. I thanked him and paid him $1,500. He didn't offer sympathy, which I appreciated. I don't like being handled. I sat with the envelope for an hour, flipping pages, marking dates. The evidence was clean, methodical, undeniable. No room for interpretation or doubt. 3 weekends, 4 overnight stays, consistent patterns. Every excuse matched to a lie, every story backed by contradictory facts. Then I reached for my phone and opened a thread I'd never used, a direct message to Annie. Hey, this is Cole. I need to ask you something that's going to sound insane. Do you have 10 minutes? She answered in 2. What's wrong? It's not a phone thing. Can you meet at the Starbucks near the library? She replied with a thumbs up, and 10 minutes later, walked into the cafe with a puzzled face. Annie is direct, no fluff. Her eyes scan a room like a teacher taking attendance. She slid into the booth across from me. Talk, she said. I set the envelope between us. Look through this, then tell me whether your weekend stories match mine. She blinked. Whose weekend stories? She pulled the papers slowly, read, flipped a page, read more. Her mouth went tight. No, she said, barely above a whisper. No, he wouldn't. I didn't rush her. I let her read each line, the hotel records, the license plate tracking, the text message timestamps that showed coordination between Jessica and Wade while they were supposedly in different places. Those are the same weekends he told me he had client meetings in Dallas, she said, pointing to 2 entries with her nail. And I covered for him with my mom's birthday dinner and our neighbor's cookout. Patterns are stubborn, I said. She pressed a hand to her forehead like a headache had walked in and sat down without asking. I'm sorry, I said, and meant it. I didn't bring this to break you. I brought it because I think you're the only person who will understand the shape of it. She looked up, eyes sharp now. Teacher mode. Thank you for not telling me in a text. I respect you too much for that. She slid the stack back toward me, then pulled it back halfway. Hold on, look at these dates. She tapped 2 lines with her nail. Those are the same weekends he told me he had last-minute travel, and I covered for him with the kid's dentist and my sister's barbecue. She pushed the papers fully back. What do you want to do? I already did one thing, I told her. I met with a lawyer yesterday and drew up papers. No court fights, straightforward split, equal terms. It's all signed on my side. Her eyes widened. You move fast. I move when respect leaves the room, I said. I'm not going to beg someone to stay who's shopping for an upgrade. She closed her eyes for a moment. When she opened them, steel. I want out too. I'll call my own attorney. No drama, clean break. I nodded. I'm going to give you copies of this. Use them or don't. I don't need a mess. I need an end. We sat with that. The cafe hissed steam and hummed with chatter around us. The world kept moving, which felt right. My life was a moving object, not a paused movie. "What's your plan?" she asked finally. "Glad you asked," I said. "Because a plan is the only thing that makes this bearable." She leaned in. "Tell me." I laid out a simple path. No shouting, no house trashing. We'd wait for them to hand us their own schedule. They were predictable as clockwork. Jessica would announce another girls' trip soon enough. Wade would have a matching business conference story for Annie. "When that happens," I said, "you pack a bag and come stay in the guest room at my place for the weekend. We make breakfast together Monday morning when she walks in. We don't yell, we don't accuse. We let the facts speak and we offer paperwork." Annie let out a breath that scraped the corner of a laugh. "That's cold." "It's calm," I corrected. "I'm done bleeding. I want a clean cut." She sat back thinking. "Okay, I'll bring my own folder. He gets the same courtesy." "Good," I said, and finished my coffee. We didn't have to wait long. On Friday morning, Jessica texted while I was reviewing blueprints at the office. Girls' weekend spa trip to San Marcos, leaving Friday afternoon, back Monday morning early, staying with Casey and some college friends. Might not have great service. Love you. I turned my screen so Annie could read when we met for coffee that afternoon. She snorted. "He told me he has a client conference in Dallas until Monday, leaves Friday at noon." "They like alignment," I shrugged. "What now?" "Now," I said, "you pack a bag and come stay in the guest room at my place for the weekend. We make breakfast together Monday morning when she walks in. We don't yell, we don't accuse. We let the facts speak and we offer paperwork." Annie stared at my phone. "Your move was perfect," she said. "There's one more move," I replied. "He gets the same treatment, but you lead. Your house, your rules. I'll wait in the car if you want." She shook her head. "You stand in the kitchen. I want him to see that I'm not alone." On Friday evening, Jessica kissed my cheek on her way out. "I'll call when we get there," she said. "You're driving?" I replied. "Text when you arrive," I said. "Right," she said, slipping. "We're carpooling. Have fun." I answered and turned to my laptop. When the door closed, I changed the passcode on the alarm system, adjusted the thermostat schedule, and moved my phone charger into the guest room. That wasn't pettiness. That was logistics. The science of not letting chaos dictate your comfort. Annie arrived with a small bag and a look that mixed rage and resolve. "Nice place," she said at the door. "It's lived in," I replied. "Guest room's clean." We didn't talk about them. We talked about the grocery list and the coffee machine settings. We worked in normal rhythm. Saturday morning, we went to the farmer's market. A neighbor saw us there and waved. "Hey, Cole," he called. "New partner in crime?" "Friend," I answered smoothly. "Annie's staying with us while her place gets treated for termites." He nodded. "Those are relentless this time of year." Annie raised a bag of apples. "We're relentless too." That night, Jessica sent a text with a blurry picture of what looked like a hotel pool area. "Having a great time with the girls," I replied with a thumbs up. Annie looked at her own phone and shook her head. He sent me a stock photo of the Dallas skyline. Sunday was quiet. We planned breakfast like we were preparing for an inspection. Eggs, pancakes, fruit, bacon, coffee. No theatrics, just abundance. I printed 2 folders, papers on the left, evidence on the right. I put a pen in each. The folders sat on the kitchen island like ordinary mail, nothing dramatic about them. At 6:30 Monday morning, the garage door groaned. I was at the stove flipping pancakes. Annie sliced strawberries. The kitchen smelled like normal life. That was the point. The back door opened. Jessica walked in with a weekend's worth of overnight energy. Hair tossed, shirt wrinkled, eyes bright, then calculating in less than a second. She froze like she'd stepped into ice water. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. I didn't rush to fill the silence. I put a pancake on a plate and slid it to the other end of the island. Annie didn't turn around. She finished the strawberries and set the knife down. "Good morning," I said calmly. "Hungry?" Jessica blinked. "What? What is this?" Annie glanced up, cool, mouth quirked. "How was the spa weekend with my husband?" Jessica gripped the strap of her overnight bag. The bag looked heavier all of a sudden. Her eyes jumped from Annie to me to the folders on the counter. Panic, then a hunt for a story, then the grip of reality. That shift is easy to recognize when you've already made up your mind. "I don't know what you think you're doing," she finally managed. "I'm making breakfast," I answered evenly. "And I've set out everything you need for a fast resolution." What resolution? She shot back, volume climbing, then dropping when she caught herself. We can talk, just you and me. No speeches, I told her. We're beyond that. This is about action. On the counter is a folder. On the left are the documents finalizing our exit. On the right is the log of weekends, charges, and the hotel upgrade sheet that carries both your names because Wade wanted a better view. There's more, but those are the highlights. I already signed my side. You can add your name, or you can leave. Either way, the story ends. She took a breath that didn't land. You didn't even ask me, she said. I didn't need to, I replied. I asked a professional to confirm what my eyes already saw. I'm not running a courtroom. I'm enforcing my boundary. Her voice shook. This is so extreme. What's extreme is spending my life next to someone who treats me like a placeholder while auditioning the next option. I'm not a placeholder. Annie leaned on the counter. You used my name as cover, she told Jessica. You used my house as a prop, and you kept smiling like I'm a fool, no more. Jessica's face crumpled, then stiffened, then softened. She tried 3 masks in 5 seconds and realized none would work. She dropped her bag by the stool and opened the folder with a jerky motion. She scanned the first page. You won't listen to me, she tried again. I'm listening to your signature, I said. She stared at the evidence side, flipped 2 pages, saw the upgrade sheet with her name next to Wade's. She shut her eyes and pressed her lips together. When she opened them, tears tracked down without force. Please, she said, we can fix this. We can reset. I was stupid. That word won't help here, I replied. You made choices. Choices have results. I'm making mine. Jessica reached for my arm. I stepped back enough that her hand caught empty air. Don't do this, Cole, she whispered. You did this, I answered. I just cleaned it up. Annie nodded toward the pen. Sign, she said. Jessica's jaw tensed. She looked around the kitchen like the room would give her instructions. The room stayed a room. She picked up the pen, hovered, then put it down. I need time, she said. You had time, I told her. You took plenty of it, just not with me. She stared at the paper for a long moment. She signed. She did it in 3 motions, quick, like pulling off a bandage. I took the folder back and placed it in a bag on the chair. I'll handle the rest, I said. You can pack some essentials. I changed the alarm code. When you're ready for a pickup, text me. I'll have a box of your things set aside. We'll keep the logistics simple. Her eyes filled again. So that's it, after everything. That's exactly it, I answered. I didn't cancel us. You did. I'm just confirming the order. She looked at Annie. You too. After all our years. Annie's voice was steady. You ended those years when you treated me like camouflage. Now I'm finishing what you started. Jessica picked up her bag with a stiff motion and walked down the hall to the bedroom. We heard drawers, hangers, the sound of someone moving through a life in a house they had misread. She came back with a small duffel, eyes swollen but dry. She stopped in the doorway. I'm sorry you feel hurt, she said, trying one last tactic. I raised an eyebrow. I don't feel hurt, I answered. I feel done. She flinched at that, like the simplicity stung more than any insult. She stepped onto the porch, then turned back. Can we talk later? She asked weakly. No, I said. Later belongs to people who respect each other. She left. We ate breakfast. The pancakes tasted like pancakes. The quiet tasted like air. That afternoon in Annie's bright kitchen, the scene played again with swapped roles. Wade walked in with the gym bag he always carried when he lied about working out. He saw me by the counter and Annie beside the coffee maker. His face didn't freeze. It cracked, then smoothed like he'd practiced this kind of emergency. What's this? He asked, aiming for Breezy. Annie didn't bother with a preface. She pointed to the folder. Your name is on the right. The signature line is there. Sign it, and take a look at the upgrade sheet if you're confused about why. He tried to laugh. Come on, babe, don't. She cut him off. You're not charming your way out. You took me for granted in my own house. You used my friend as cover. You're done. He looked at me, maybe hoping for some kind of code. I picked up an apple from the bowl and bit into it. I don't run codes for people who sink their own boats, I said. Wade put down his bag, looked between us, then let out a breath and signed. 2 months later, the exits were official. Assets were divided right down the line. I kept my house, my truck, my business relationships. Jessica walked away with her car, her 401k, and exactly half of everything we'd built together. Wade got the same treatment from Annie, no special prizes for performances. I see Jessica once more outside Target. She tries the old stance, the old mix of charm and superiority. It doesn't have anywhere to land anymore. "Cole," she says, "you look good." "I am," I reply, and mean it. Life got simple after that. I kept the morning runs, the Friday poker games. A woman named Dana started coming by the office for custom metal work. She owns a dance studio and understands that respect isn't negotiable. If I'm being honest, the strongest feeling I have about all of it isn't anger, it's relief. I gave myself back my time, my dignity, my self-respect. And that breakfast, it was the best one I've ever cooked, not because of the pancakes, but because of the truth I finally delivered. Later belongs to people who respect each other. I haven't looked back since.